All right, here we go. My name's Jeff Kay, and you're listening to episode 434 of the world-famous West Virginia Surf Report podcast. As I record this, the Super Bowl is tomorrow, and I don't know anything about it, and I don't have any interest in it, and I couldn't give a tiny seahorse-shaped shitlet about any of it. I sort of know who the teams are just by living in the world, just through osmosis. I just absorb information. I think it's the Chiefs and the Eagles. I think that's Kansas City and Philadelphia. Is that right? I don't know anything about football. Never cared about it. Never had a team. Never gave a shit. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm a male in the United States that doesn't like football. A straight male in the United States, I might add. I don't know what happened. I don't know. The people in that category are generally giant nerds. So maybe that's where I am. Maybe I fall in the nerd category. I don't know. At this point, who cares? But anyway, I don't know who. I also don't know who's performing at the halftime. I assume. I can envision it in my head. I can envision it that it's going to be like 17 different artists, most of whom I've never heard of. Probably from the hip-hop, somewhere in that world. There'll be a lot of choreography. There'll be people hanging from cables, swinging from cables. And there'll be a lot of high energy dancing. A lot of people dancing like the film sped up, and I don't. That's not any kind of. I'm not really a choreography kind of guy. I don't think I've ever. I don't think I've ever been to a show of any sort where there's a lot of dancing, where there's people dancing in the background. I don't think there's been any that I've seen at all that I can think of. I mean, some of the big shows I've been to, I saw Paul Simon one time. There was like 27 people on stage. But I don't think there was any dancers. I don't remember any. It was during that whole period when he was doing all that that world music stuff. There's so many people on stage, and people were like shaking gourds and stuff. Playing instruments that look like something you'd buy, some kind of, fall festival or something. Like shaking a pumpkin, somebody like has one of those rain sticks, that kind of stuff. But I don't remember I don't remember any high energy dancing or even low energy dancing for that matter. Let's see, who else might have been. I did see a million years ago with a former girlfriend. This was her idea. I don't know. It turned out it was kind of fun, but I wouldn't have gone. Let's just put it that way. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have gone. But it was the Commodores. Back when I was I don't know how old I was. Probably 19, something like that, 18, 19, somewhere in that era. There might have been some dancing at that. There might have been some background dancing. Do you have any choreography? So people show me, people go see these big shows of artists I've never heard of. Or generally, or artists that I sort of heard of, but I don't really don't know anything about them. And they show me, watch this. I filmed this with my phone, and I'll look at it. It's just a whole bunch of people dancing. What the hell is this? Shouldn't there be people playing instruments? Is there anybody playing an instrument here? I know I sound like some old codger, but Anyway, I remember Tom Petty played the halftime show. I remember Paul McCartney played. Prince. There used to be rock. I'm not one of these guys that's like, I'm not one of these guys that says, back in my day, this music's garbage now. All this new music's is just trash. I'm not, I do not, that's not me. That's not the kind of guy I am. I notice that when people do that kind of stuff, when they say, there's no good music now, that's just, when I hear somebody say that, I'm like, shut your ass, You don't know, you have no interest. That's what it is. You don't have the interest to go look for it. And when they say stuff like that, it's like, it's from miraculously. Somehow, it's always, no matter how old these people are, they're saying these things, it's always the best time, the best music in the world, in the history of the world, is when that person was in high school and 5, 6, 7 years after. That era, from like 10th grade to 5 or 6 years after high school, miraculously, it doesn't matter how old these people are or how young they are, that somehow was the best music ever. I don't know how that happens. I listen to a lot of stuff from that era too, but I'm always looking for new music and stuff to listen to. I never stopped. I'm not as tapped in as I used to be. I will not make that claim, because that would be, if I said that would be a big old fat lie. But I got my ears open. I listen to stuff. I've been listening to one of these channels that are deep in the bowels of Sirius XM, way up the anal canal of Sirius XM. And on the app, there's like all these bizarre, there's all kinds of strange stuff in there. You should check it out. But it's pretty fantastic. There's like hundreds of channels that are just on the app only. So there's one on there. It's alternative music from the 80s to now, right? That's pretty fun. I listen to that. There's a lot of stuff on there I know, of course, and then there's a lot of more current stuff that I never heard of before. I never heard before in my life. Don't recognize the artists, but I like it. It's good, There's most people would be like, I never heard this before. Turn it off. Screw that. It's like if you hear something you've never heard before, automatically, screw, I don't have time for that, I'm not like that. But anyway, I would like to see a rock band play once in a while. I'm not saying they have to dominate. Just mix it up a little bit. Why is it always 17 musicians? Handing it off, one thing after another. It's like people hanging off cords. Anyway, I couldn't care less. I probably won't watch 5 minutes of it. But anyway, if you like it, then more power to you, baby. I'm ready for baseball. Baseball's getting ready to fire up. Pitchers and catchers report spring training on Monday, and they're going to start playing soon. I think it's like 15 days till the first game, something like that. I haven't looked at my tracker lately. I have a tracker on my phone. Countdown. You know what else I put on there on the countdown is I put my Tony and I have been talking, and I have a specific day where I'm going to retire. Hopefully, got that shit on there too. I'm tracking that. I got a countdown. It's a lot of days, but it'll get smaller and smaller. It'll be exciting. I'll keep you updated on that. But I have a specific day in my head. We've decided. We've crunched the numbers. We've decided a specific day that I'm going to retire. She can't retire, though. She's younger than me. So she's going to be working a little bit after I retire, But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's in South Carolina. Another thing that I try not to be a grouchy old man. I'm going to tell you a story in a few minutes. It'll make me sound like one, but I try not to be that way. Nobody likes that. But my new phone. I told the story. I don't know what I told you guys. But I received my new phone finally on Monday. It came. FedEx. We had to sign for it. And on Wednesday, I thought I was just going to activate it myself. But then I was like, something's going to go wrong. And things are going to get messed up. I'm going to get extremely aggravated and might have a stroke. I thought, the guy told me, if it's easy to activate on your own, but if you want us to do it, you can come over and have us do it. We'll charge you $30 though. I said, you guys charge for that now? Yeah, we don't. We used to do it for free, but it takes so much time. I said, all right, I'll give it some thought. So the thing came on Monday. On Wednesday, I decided on Tuesday, I decided I'm going to go have them do it. I'm going to have them do it because I don't know if the SIM card has to be swapped out. I don't know if that's old-fashioned. I don't know if that even happens anymore. And I don't want to start messing with that. I could probably figure it out, but there'd probably be a problem, and I might, I don't need that level of aggravation. $30 is a small price to pay to avoid just a terrible experience where my blood pressure's sky high and I'm ranting and stuff. So I went over there on Wednesday. To have it activated. I got up early to go over there before I go to work. I went over there with my new phone. Came on Monday, like I said, and the guy goes, "We can't activate those yet." I said, "What? Why?" He goes, the official date, the release date is Friday the 7th. He goes, I know when you order them, they come a little bit early, but you can't activate them until the release date. I said, well, it'd have been nice if somebody told me about this. God, it's irritating because I got up early and I went over there, you know what I mean? Hang on a second, let me take a hit off this. Gotta get some water down. So I said, all right. Well, I said, so what do we do? He goes, well, we can put you down. We can do an appointment on Friday. You can come over here on Friday, or you can do it on the weekend. I said, no, I need it done ASAP. I said, what's the earliest appointment you have for Friday? He said 11. I said, I'll be here at 10:30. He goes, well, I don't know if you might have to wait a little while. I said, that's fine. It's a risk I'm willing to take. All right. So on Friday, also he goes, if you try to activate it, it won't work, and your old phone will be disabled. It'll start through the process. The first thing it does is disables your old phone, but then it won't allow it to enable. Won't allow it to react. It won't allow it to activate the new phone, so you won't have use of either phone. I was like, oh God, I don't want that. I can't have that. So anyway, so I went over there on Friday, and at 10:30, I was there at 10:30, and the guy goes, what can I do for you? I said, I need to get this thing activated today, and maybe get the old phone ready for to be traded in, because I'm supposed to get $800 credit for my old phone. He goes, you can do that yourself. Irritated me. I said, I said, I've already decided I'm just going to take the hit on the $30 and let you guys do it, because there's inevitably going to be some kind of problem. There's no problem. It's it's a really slick system they have. I said, do you want to do this or not? I mean, God. He goes, yeah, we'll do it, but, you could do it. All right, I already pissed at this guy, right? So, and every time I go over there, there's some kind of issue. I go in there and to try to upgrade my phone, and they say, you should wait till February. This is back in December, I think, or November. I don't know. At the end of the year. He goes, nah, you should come back in February. That's when you should come back. I'm like, why? And the guy's like talking in circles. He's talking in circles, never answers a straight question. He never just tells you exactly what you want to hear. Or he doesn't really give you the exact information you're looking for. Talking in circles. Like you feel like you're in some kind of like, house of mirrors. It's like, so I said, all right, whatever. irritating. So every time I go in there, it's like, we can't do that, or now's not the time, every time. So, and then the guy's like, you could do it. I said, I want you to do it, And he goes, all right. He starts asking me all these questions. What's the telephone number? Do you have, what's the address, the billing address? Do you have a piece of ID? Can you show me your ID? All this stuff. And asked several questions about like that. It's those 3 questions, and then it feels like there was 2 more. And then he goes, what's your Verizon PIN? I said, I don't have any idea what that is. He goes, you don't know your Verizon PIN? I was like, I hate that shit irritates me. I just told you that I don't know what it is. And then you say, you don't know what it is? I said, I told you I don't know what it is. He goes, well, I'll have to send you a code to your phone. I said, okay. So he sends me this email, or he sends me like a notification or something, text, I guess. Click on it, it opens up to some page where it wants me to enter my PIN, my Verizon PIN. I said, I told you I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. He goes, well, this is a problem. He goes, I can't believe you don't know. I'm saying, oh my God, if you say that one more time, I'm going to take I'm going to start bashing you over the head with this gigantic iPad laying over here. He goes, I said, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another workaround. There's got to be some kind of options. And he goes, well, I can send it. I said, send it to my wife, And he goes, is she going to know the code? I said, she'd probably know it more before I would. So he goes, why don't you text her and tell her it's coming, because it's time sensitive. It only lasts for So I texted her. She didn't respond. Standard. I said, could you? We're gonna send you a text. Can you just respond to it? No response. I get nothing. So we're just sitting there. He goes, I don't want to send it until she acknowledges that you're gonna, because it's time sensitive. Yeah, I heard that. God, this guy's irritating me. I said, every time I come over here, it's something. It's something with you guys. I said, it's never a smooth. It's always something. He goes, well, these are just standard security measures. I said, it's excessive. It's excessive, over the top. You already looked up my every piece of information about me. You looked at my ID. I said, this is ridiculous. God, why is everything so aggravating? The guy's like, here we go. The guy's like, and he's like, he thinks he thinks I'm being ridiculous. I don't think I am. I've had enough. I have reached an age where I've had enough. I've had enough of the nonsense, the bullshit. I've had enough. I don't want to. Why can't you just go in there and activate this thing? I don't need to negotiate with him. I don't need to explain why I want him to do it instead of me. If that's a service they offer, that's what I want. I want to buy that service. All right, and I don't need you arguing with me about it. Whistle dick, So he's like, oh my God, it's this grouchy old fat man coming in here bitching up a storm. Like, I'm getting fired up. So Tony finally responds, and I said, we're going to send you something. Just hit OK or whatever. Just acknowledge it. And so he sends it, and she does it. And so he goes, all right, I'm in. All right. So then he starts having trouble. He goes, you could really do this on your own. I'm sitting over there like smoke's coming out of my ears. I'm trying not to cause, I'm trying to maintain. I don't want to be I don't want people to think I'm a complete lunatic. If he says that one more time, he just keeps saying it. And then he starts having trouble. He starts having problems. I said, see? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see why I didn't want to do it? At least I'm here surrounded by people who are, supposed to be experts on this stuff. I said, if I was doing this crap at home and had these problems, which I would have, then I'd probably, I'd have a stroke. I'd be in a wheelchair. I'd end up in a wheelchair, And he goes, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal. We'll figure it out." I said, "Yeah, but this is why I'm doing the $29.99. All right." But anyway, long story short, he finally got it activated, got everything moved over. It's pretty slick. It's back in the old days when you used to do that crap, the stuff would move over, but it was spotty. Like the app, there'd be maybe 75% of the apps, or maybe 66% of the apps would move over, and there'd be a whole bunch of them that didn't. And they'd be just jumbled. They wouldn't be in the spot where they were before. And you'd have to spend a couple days getting the thing back. Now it's everything's right there. It went through everything. All the data's been moved. It says all the data's been, it's 100% moved. And then it goes into some kind of mode where it says arranging. And it puts everything right back where it was, exactly the way it was on your old phone. That's pretty cool. I think they're gonna get that thing down to where it's going to be almost instantaneous. I mean, it took probably 45 minutes to move everything over. He was irritated, man. He was pacing like a tiger in a cage. All these people were coming in buying phones and stuff. He's over there stuck with me. He's not making any commissions. He's stuck with this fat bastard's bitching and complaining all the time. He's not making any commissions. People were walking in. Somebody else will swoop in and sell them some $1,200 Ultra, S25 Ultra or whatever. The guy's like, damn it. Anyway, he got it moved over. And he said, take your old phone. You don't want to trade that in yet. I said, why is that? And he goes, you're going to need it for something. Something's going to come up, and you're going to need it. You got 30. You actually have 45 days to turn it in. We advertise 30, but we'll go out 45. I said, okay, I was hoping to get all this handled today. He goes, that would be a mistake. You need to take your old phone. And I immediately, last night, I needed my old phone for something, So, at least that saved me. I probably would have had to call IT Central, or whatever that was called. And, they'd have to walk. I'd probably end up on a wheelchair, because I'd have a stroke. So anyway, I try not to be a grouchy old bastard. I try not to be, but I've had enough. I've reached a point. Now I can't roll with it as well as I used to. I've had my fill. I feel like my quota has been reached. Anyway, I got a couple phone calls. We're going to go to those now. This first one's from our old buddy Jason out in Austin, Texas. Here it is.
Hey, Jeff, it's Jason Yetma in Austin, Texas. Calling to let you know about a little story that happened last week. Here in Austin, we have a lot of new people that move into the city and just don't understand that it's not like the place they just came from. And here's a case in point. In Texas, you can agree to a fist fight, and it's legal. There's a couple of ropes. You can't stomp someone or use a weapon. But if two men want to have a fist fight, that's legitimate. They call it mutual combat, and it's legal here in Texas. Me and this guy have been arguing about his flower bed for months. It's my problem. It's his problem. I'm going to fix it. He's going to fix it, back and forth for months. Fixing his flower bed's about $500, all right? And we cannot come to any agreement on it. So he called me last week and said, you want to just fight about it? And I said, sure, fine by me. I'm sick of hearing his mouth to begin with, and I'd love to hit him in the face. And I know he feels the same way about me. I met him at his condo. I actually had to make an appointment with him because I was still at work. And it was a pretty standard fight, but then the police showed up. And not just police, but new people to the area. Basically some transplants from Malibu that look like Ken dolls in shorts, screeching for us to stop, and we're telling them, leave us alone. We want to fight. They're screaming. They're swinging dildos around. I think they were dildos. I don't know. And they said, you can't be hitting people. So anyway, the Ken dolls are screaming, making all this noise, and the neighbors complained and tried to find the guy that I fought later this week. And they weren't mad about the fight, most of them, but about the noise being caused by the spray-tanned Ken doll cops that showed up. Anyway, the guy got the best of me, I'll admit. And that occurred last Friday. On Monday, I had his flower bed redone at a cost of $508. And you can decide for yourself whether or not our method of handling things was appropriate or not. But I think it's a quick, inexpensive, and a fair way to do it. By the way, this week he mailed me an envelope containing 5 $100 bills with a sticky note that said, hey, man, you were right. That was my problem to begin with. I'll pay for it. And I told him, hell no, we had an agreement. I've already paid for it. I got his flower bed done Monday. So no. And our agreement now is, he said, go open us a tab on 6th Street. So me and the guy I just fought last week are going to go get...
The hell? Are you serious? I don't, you got cut off there, but, I get the gist of it. So mutual combat. I wouldn't be, that's not something. Like I have this neighbor here, Papa Half Shirt, lives next door, hates me. He absolutely hates my guts. Both of him and his wife, Mama Half Shirt, just absolutely hate me. I mean, they would both of them would love to punch me right in the face, They would love it. And, I don't know. I might be able to take her, but he's wiry. Well, he used to be wiry. He, supposedly, his wife told my wife, because they get pissed about everything we do. Everything we do, they have an issue with it. If there's leaves on the lawn, in fall, when trees are dumping all their leaves, if there's leaves on our lawn, they get pissed about that. Like Ottawa's supposed to be out there with a, with some kind of like a suction machine, just sucking them as they fall. Like don't even, before they are even allowed. He's a nut. He's out there. He doesn't work, right? He's retired. He's out there all the time, probably to escape her, He's out there just raking and raking and raking like a madman. But anyway, she was bitching about the fact that we had leaves on our grass like everybody else except him. And we'll get to them. We're not doing it on your schedule. Don't try to enforce a schedule on us, Whistle. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, she said he has just been diagnosed with cancer, and he's out there because they say the wind blows leaves over here. He's out there like having to rake your leaves off our lawn. And this was like several years ago. This is a few years ago. Been diagnosed with cancer. But then since then he's like ballooned up. I don't know. He's like put on a whole bunch of weight. And I don't know. I've never seen. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I've never seen a man put on 75 pounds of cancer weight. Have you? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, he's wiry. He used to be wiry. He used to wear those half shirts all the time. I'm not fighting him. I'd be out there fighting Papa Half Shirt. Mama would come running out of the house and hit me over the back of the head with a folding chair. It'd be like something out of like wrestling. It'd be like professional wrestling over there. He'd beat the shit out of me. They're just full of rage. They're just like, these people are, I've never seen people so full of rage all the time. They're over there yelling. You could hear them yelling from our living room in the summer, like when the windows are open. They're just like yelling at each other. I made all this hamburger helper and nobody's going to eat it. That's just great. Just yelling all the time. I'm like, oh my God, these people are crazy. And their house is like immaculate, And our house looks fine. But we're not doing it we're not doing it like that. We're not out there every time a leaf falls, go out there and pick it up, pack it. But anyway, I'm not fighting anybody. I'm not down with the mutual combat. I guess it's a good way of, I guess it's a good way of solving small little problems instead of going to like small claims court or something. You just fight somebody. You want to fight about it? I don't know, man. That's not really. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know. And I don't know about these new people out there waving dildos. I don't know. I don't like that either. I'm not sure I'm. It's a good way of doing it. I'm not really a fighter. I'm not going to fight somebody. I haven't had a fight since high school, and I'd get my ass beat. I get my ass beat in, and I can't have that. So, anyway, I'm glad it worked out for you. He sent you $500. I guess it got cut off, but I assume you opened up a bar tab on both of your names. That's awesome. Perfect. That's what it sounded like you were getting ready to say. So there you go. Good to hear from you, Jason. Call me back anytime. You're always welcome on here. And this next call is from our old pal Simon. Actually, it's not our old pal. I don't know if he's called before. If he has, he's our old pal Simon. If he hasn't, he's our new pal Simon. Here it is.
Hi, Jeff. It's Simon from Canada, a long-time listener, long-time reader of the West Virginia Surf Report back when it was a website. Listen, I wanted to ask you about the little sound bites at the beginning of your podcast, like, good boy, my ass and stuff like that. Where does that come from? Is it like a movie extract? Is it a caller, like back in episodes that I never listened to, or I don't know? So, yeah, if you could just tell me that and all the listeners. So thank you and keep up the good work. Bye-bye.
I'm glad you asked. About that. Those little snippets I put at the beginning, or I asked Zip. Zip just does them randomly. Let's see if I can figure out if I can remember. The one goes, "Hello world." That's from Richard and it's from the Clyde Bull radio show. It's a radio show I used to listen to from out of London. I used to listen to him all the time. And I think it was Richard from Greenford or something like that. He was a caller, called in all the time, and that's how he would start his, like when he'd call in, that's how he'd start every one of his calls. "Hello, world," And then he was talking about, one time he was going on and on about how he's an expert in Morse code. So that's another one of his, where he goes, "Dotted, dotted, dotted," all that stuff. So that's another one I put on there. That's in the rotation, and Zip just puts them in there randomly. I don't know what's going to be in there each episode. He also chooses that little snippet at the end from the episode itself. That's all Zip, whatever he thinks is a good choice, he puts on there. But so those two are from Richard and Greenford from the. I think it's Greenford. I don't know. Richard. His name's Richard. Seems like Richard from Greenford, if that's a place. I don't know. It's from Clyde Bull's radio show out of London. And then, what is the other one? What are the other ones? There's this shit is way out of line. That's from one of my favorite movies, the Hollywood Nights. That's from Bimbo, the cop, the cop that's in that show. It's a great movie, Hollywood Nights. I used to see that back when I was a teenager on HBO. It was fantastic. It's kind of like a cross between was American Graffiti, because it's set in the early '60s, basically the '50s. Maybe like 1961, 62, in that era. Somewhere in that era, and but it's also just like, it's like an Animal House type thing. It's just, bad, I don't know what the word is. It's like, like fifth grade boy humor, right in my wheelhouse. Anyway, it's the Hollywood Nights, so that's what that's from. What else we missing? All that woman that goes. That one woman that goes, she was a little bit hefty. That's another one that goes on there. That's from a documentary I watched recently about, what's that thing called? The Automat restaurant. It used to have these Automat restaurants in New York and Philadelphia where you'd go in and put coins in and open these little windows and grab your food from these little compartments. Like, you never actually interacted with a waiter or anything. You just went in and just like bought whatever you want out of these little windows. And there was this woman. So there's a documentary. It's really good, actually. I think it's just called The Automat. It's excellent if you're if you're interested. But this woman was on there, and I was watching it late one night, just down here in the bunker, and she was like, she had this thick New York accent, and she was like, I had a friend who loved the macaroni and cheese. That's how she said it. She's talking about the food at the Automat. I had a friend who loved the macaroni and cheese, not macaroni and cheese, which I think most people say. She put a different emphasis on it, macaroni and cheese. And she goes, I had a friend, I'm going to say it again. I have a friend who loved the macaroni and cheese. She was a little bit hefty. Like, what the hell? That cracked me up. I was dying laughing. I had to put the movie on hold. I had to pause it. I was like, that is hilarious. Why did she inject that little, that is hilarious. She was a little bit hefty. But anyway, so that's what that's from. And the one that you asked about, is that all of them? Except for the one that you asked about specifically was Good Boy My Ass. That's from that's my cousin Danny. Danny called in, or Dan as he goes by now. But it was Danny, all my life. My cousin Danny's younger than me, but he called in with a heartwarming story of a younger Jeff K. And it's I'll just play the whole thing for you if you want to hear it. I haven't played it in a long time, so I'll just play that clip right now.
Hey Jeff, it's Dan. Congratulations on your 200 episodes. You were talking about being out of high school for 40 years, which makes me remember 40 years ago as a sixth grader in elementary school, standing on the corner of 17th Street and Myers Avenue as a safety patrol and dreading every morning that blue Nova coming around the corner at 16th Street, lining up for the water hole that was always on the corner of 17th, gunning it and soaking me from head to toe with water. Went to school every day soaked from head to toe. Tried to get my dad to buy me a rain suit so I wouldn't get wet, and he asked me why I wanted it, and I said, because Jeff splashes me every day. He said, Jeff wouldn't do that. He's a good boy, and busted my ass for lying. Good boy, my ass.
So there you go. That's right. I used to drive my 71 Nova, have a carload of friends, driving to high school, and I'd go down Myers Avenue, and all those guys would be lined up, those safety patrols at every corner. There'd be these kids, they're all sixth graders, at every corner, including my cousin Danny. And if it was raining, I'd splash them. I'd splash them on purpose. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but it was funny back in those days. It was hilarious. There's this one kid on 21st Street, and I remember him, and he was out there like, wagging his finger at us like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then it's like that wave at the beginning of Hawaii 5-0. It's like it was above his head, He just completely drenched him, That's what I'm not proud of it. I was a young little shithead, but that's where that's from. I love that. He wouldn't do that. He's a good boy. Good boy, my ass. Perfect. I love it. So anyway, that's where that's from. I hope that's all of them. I can't remember if there's another one that's in the mix. I can't remember. I'm spacing on it. But hopefully that answers your question. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Jason, for calling. Either one of you, call back anytime you want. And all of you, anybody listen to this, call me. You know, if you got something on your mind, something you want to talk about, something you want to share, the number, 570-290-8151. Call me around the clock. It's voicemail, you know. And if you call and then you have second thoughts about it and it's like, I don't know if I want that in it. I don't want him to use that. Just shoot me a message and I won't use it. I'm not looking to embarrass anybody, you know. I don't want you to stress over it. But anyway, again, the number 570-290-8151. And if you want 2 episodes every week of the podcast, every weekish of the podcast, I try to publish every week. Circumstances sometimes do not make that possible. But every time there's a new episode out on the main network, there's a bonus episode, full length, just like these, that are out on the Patreon side. The Patreon side is for patrons only. That's folks who go to patreon.com/JeffK and sign up for a $4 or more. I want to put an emphasis on that, or more. You know, $4 or more monthly donation, you get an extra episode every week. Not every once in a while, not every month. That's for suckers. Every week-ish. So if you want to double down and get even more surf report in your life, it's easy to do. Surf report. No way. I'm sorry. Patreon.com/JeffK. That's where you go to do that. If you sign up, I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy all the bonus episodes. There's a bunch of them in there. You have access to all the old ones. What is this, 434? So there's half of those 434 are Patreon episodes that most of you guys have never heard before. They're out there, available. It's a rich vein of ridiculousness ready to be tapped. So do it today. SurfReportPod.com is the web home of the podcast, so if you want to check that out as well, I need to get some stuff updated on that. Generally it's a place where you can go and see, photographs, stuff I talked about, like links and stuff, little background information, some further reading, value-added service. SurfReportPod.com. That's the home of the podcast on the internet. So check that out as well. And we're at the end of this thing. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, which will be over on the Patreon side. Hope you guys have yourselves a fine, fine day. I'll see you. Bye. He also chooses that little snippet at the end from the episode itself. That's all zip.